Okay, welcome everybody. I am James from eDirectory, and welcome to today's webinar. We're going to talk about Google Tag Manager today. I'm excited about this webinar. With us, we have Emerson and Gabriel from our marketing department, and Daniel from operations. Say hi, guys.
Hey, welcome everybody.
All right. So to get this started, we're going to do a brief presentation, and if anybody has any questions during the presentation, please don't hesitate to drop them into the chat, and we will pick them up periodically. We'll stop and pick them up. Also, at the end, we'll have a longer period to answer questions about both Google Tag Manager and anything else you may want to ask about. So great, let's get started. Okay. The first thing is, what is a tag and why would I want to use one? We have some new people here and they may not be familiar with this, so we'll just do a very, very quick overview on what this is all about. A tag is just a snippet of code, really. And it's generally used to execute some type of action on a page on your site, or to send information from your site to a third party. Basically, so it's including a snippet of code on your site to send information or do some type of an action. It can be any type of code, HTML, JavaScript, etc. They're used for a number of different things, such as sending data for analytics tracking. This is actually one of the main uses, one of the biggest uses of the Tag Manager. There's lots of different analytics tracking systems, of course, Google Analytics, but also things like Hotjar, which measure just where people are moving around on your site with the mouse, SEO tools, etc. So many of the analytics systems, they need to include a little snippet to send the data about what people are doing on your site to the analytics system to track. Another usage is privacy policies in these GDPR pop-ups. The GDPR is the privacy policy in Europe where they have the data law there. And you'll see these little things on the site that come in the bottom and accept cookies, etc. A lot of those are managed using tags in the Tag Manager. Also chatbots, social media widgets, whatever else you can possibly think of. A lot of these little inclusions of third-party systems are done via the Tag Manager. And third-party CRMs, marketing automation systems. Many times these marketing systems, they want to know what a user's doing on your site, or if they're checking out through a checkout process, etc. That data can be sent using the Tag Manager. Okay, keep going. I saw a couple comments there. Welcome everybody. So why do I need the Tag Manager? So we know what the tag is. We know why you want to include it on your website. But what is the Tag Manager for? And so basically it allows you to add and remove tags using a Google interface, an easy Google interface without editing the code on your website. So you're able to include these snippets and remove these snippets using the Google interface. Google has many popular systems pre-configured in it, so you don't even have to necessarily think about code. You can go in there and browse, and they have a drop-down with a number of systems, and you can select one of them, or you can include custom code if your system isn't pre-configured into Google, and paste in a snippet as well in there for it. It also has triggers and variables. So a trigger is something that causes the tag to fire or execute, and you can set different rule sets depending. This is sort of an advanced feature. We'll show you more about this here in a minute. And also variables. A variable might be an example of what is the referrer tag? What is the referrer? The referral website. So somebody came to your site from another site. Depending if they came from this other site, you can set up an action like display this tag. If people came from the NewYorkTimes.com, say something like welcome New York Times viewers or something like that on there. Those type of things you can do with variables and triggers. So we'll show you a little bit more about that. And then one other thing it does is it allows permissions for multiple users to manage tags. So this is great if you have like a third-party marketing agency, somebody outside your company that needs to get access to some type of system, some analytics or marketing system, et cetera. You can manage that through the tag manager where they don't have access necessarily to your code. And one other thing that Google says is that the way that the tags are actually loaded is asynchronously. And so it should provide a slight speed boost potentially to the website. The other thing that they say they do in the Google Tag Manager is it has a system to check the tags for malware, spamware from these third-party systems and potentially block them if there's something malicious about it. So some other little added benefits there. But the big thing about the tag manager is it helps you manage things a lot easier. It's just about management. Helps you take care of all these tags. You'll find if you're running a website, you often have includes from Facebook, from Google, from all these different systems, and they get a little bit difficult to remember where they are and if they're included or not. And you can go into the Google Tag Manager, see what's enabled, disable it, that kind of thing in there. So how do I get this set up, sign up and get it set up? Well, the first thing is you can get your Google Tag Manager account on Google at tagmanager.google.com. You can just Google for Tag Manager and sign up there. It's free. And then you basically go into your eDirectory Site Manager settings area and paste in your Tag Manager tag that you got out of the Google interface to enable it in eDirectory. So eDirectory is all set up to be able to easily include the tag manager. And now I'll turn it over to Emerson for a walkthrough.
Okay, thank you, James. So I'm going to show you quickly how to create an account and a container inside Google Tag Manager, and also how to integrate your container with eDirectory. So let me share my screen. But Gabriel, you can also post here the knowledge base article we have about how to do this integration, so people can save it for later. 1 minute, let me just. Okay, hope everyone can see it.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go. Using your Gmail account, you can just go to tagmanager.google.com and start using it. It's free. You don't have to pay anything to use Google Tag Manager and nor to use the tags as well. So I have one here already created, but you can click here, create account. You're going to pull your data, your company name or the account name, the country you were in, one name for the container, because that's how Google Tag Manager works. You can have as many containers as you want. What is a container? It's your website, one project. So you have your main account. You can have as many websites as you have under this main account. Each website will be a container. That's the term. So you're going to put here the name of the container. If it's web, you can put web here, and then you're going to create your container. As I already have one created here, let me just pull it. And once you create your container, you get this. That's the container ID. It's pretty simple. Copy this ID and then go to your eDirectory website. This is the dashboard for the website, the eDirectory website. Go to settings. You have here Google integrations. And then you see the Google Tag Manager tab. Just paste your container ID, save the changes, and that's it. The integration is ready to go. And then you can start adding the tags via Google Tag Manager. So it's very, very simple. In our websites, we have already some tags created. One for Google Analytics 4, one for Hotjar, one for live chat, one for Sendpost, one for share these, and one for user way. That's this Gabriel will show you how to integrate, how it looks on the front end. and how you get the codes to make the integration. The exception is for Google Analytics 4. It's a new version of Google Analytics that's going to be mandatory starting July next year, which means that if you don't have this integrated already, you can do this via Google Tag Manager. The next version of eDirectory will have this the analytics integration updated to receive the GA4 ID. But as of now, you should integrate using Google Tag Manager. So that's another important topic. If you have any questions about this integration, you can drop me a line, and I'm happy to help. So I'm going to send it over to Gabriel right now, and he will show you how to integrate a different set of tools that will improve your marketing, your communication, and another aspects of your website. Gabriel, please.
Okay, thank you, Emerson. All right, hello, everybody. I will just share my screen real quickly here. Share, yeah, that's it. I think you guys are looking at our demo website now. So we're going to cover a few cool options that we can do using the Google Tag Manager. So the goal here is to show how you can add new features to your online directory without the need of having to hire a developer or designer. So simple stuff that you can do by yourself. So first, I will show you some visible widgets that we have here. For example, the social share widget that we have here. We also have the live chat that you can pop up here. And we also have the ADA, which is an accessibility compliance widget that we are testing here. So this is just to show you how it looks on the front end of your website. Okay, so if you have a eDirectory website, this is going to look like this. And how do we install that? So as Emerson mentioned, after you logged into your Google Tag Manager account, this is the main panel, the dashboard of the Tag Manager. The important part here, we're going to focus on both the tags and the triggers. So the tags are the snippet codes itself. So these are the pieces of code that are going to actually do something to your website. So for example, we have these share this, which is this one, the social share widget. And the triggers are how and where you're going to fire these tags. For example, if you have a Google Analytics tag on your website, this tag should be fired in all pages. All of our tags here are set for all pages, except for this one, which is order page. I will cover this in a minute. But this is the important part about the triggers. It's basically how and when or where you want your tags to be loaded on your site. Okay, so for example, let me take one live chat here. So the live chat, this is a simple piece of code that perhaps you don't have the access to the root code of your website. So the Google Tag Manager kind of bypass this. So what you got to do is you just click on tag, and you're going to copy this snippet of code after you have registered on your chat tool on your favorite chat tool. For example, we use live chat here. So once you subscribe it there, they are going to give you this piece of code. You just have to paste it right here under tag configuration. And then you set the trigger to all pages and click save. And that's it. The tag is already saved, and it's going to work like this. I'm going to give an example about this. Share this, for example. So you go to sharethis.com. Let me turn it into English. Yeah. So this is a very simple widget that allows users to share any pages, or let's say you have a deal on your site and someone saw the deal online, they want to share with someone else, and they can use for this widget, super easy to share to Messenger, email, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. You can select what are the social media tools that you want to have on your site. And once you subscribe in the website, they're going to generate another snippet code like this one. So you just grab it from there and paste it right here. We are using under the custom HTML tag, which is a general container where you can paste whatever kind of HTML tag that you want. So it's no specific. And also, once again, we set the trigger to all pages. So once you click save, your widget should appear on every page of your website. But let's say I want to show you something that is invisible, that is running behind our website, which is the Hotjar tool. Just to give you an example, it works the same thing. You make an account at hotjar.com, and once you go through the configuration, through the settings, eventually it will give you a snippet code like this, the Hotjar. But the nice thing about Hotjar, since it's a big website, which is a very famous service, Google Tag Manager already has a custom container for Hotjar. So you just have to look for Hotjar. Let me just give you an example here. You click on New Tag, Tag Configuration. And here you have the featured ones, which are from Google. So let's say you want to install Google Analytics. You just click here. And then you have the custom. This is the custom HTML, the one that we were talking about before. And then you have a bunch of third-party services right here. And then you have the Hotjar tracking code, okay? And then you're going to, boom, just paste it here, the code that Hotjar will provide you. And then you set the triggering again for all pages. Then you click save, and that's it. That's pretty much it. And for those of you who don't know, Hotjar is a very interesting tool. Actually, it's a marketing analytics tool that records the movement, the clicks, the scrolling that users take on your website. This is from Directory, from our website, actually. So we can see that the movement and the clicks and where people are clicking, so you can make decisions based on, okay, maybe if I change the bottom color, instead of orange, maybe to green, and then you test it out to see how does it work. Maybe you have more clicks, maybe you have less. So it's a very interesting tool to work with. And also we have one that is not appearing right now, which is Sendpost. That is another very interesting tool. Also, this one uses a custom HTML. Okay, so you just grab it here. This is Sendpost. It sends push notifications for smartphones or computers or email. Okay, so if someone visited your eDirectory site, you can send notifications for like deals or promo codes or stuff like that from your listings or your classifieds to that person who is visiting your site, and you can do it by using Sendpost. There are also other services, and they work in the same way. Once you create an account here, they will give you a snippet code, which is something like this, and you go to your tag manager and add a new tag, just paste it under the custom HTML container, set it to all pages and click save, and that's it. You already have a push notification widget working on your website. Yeah, so if you have any questions, just please pop them in the chat right there. And that's pretty much it for the hands-on part.
Okay, great. Yeah, and if you're looking for what sort of is available to include on your website, just logging into the Google Tag Manager, there's a lot of sort of pre-made options for many of the major services there. So just browsing around and clicking on there, you'll be able to see different options there as far as what's available. But generally, it's analytics, little social media type widgets to plug in, chat type stuff, etc. For that.
Yeah, in general, it's marketing related services that you can add to your website. And one other thing, Hotjar will be the topic of our next webinar. So it's important to pay attention to that, because it's a very important tool. It will give you more insights about what people do on your pages and helps you to tweak a little bit and increase your conversion rates. That's the talk of the next webinar. And another usage of tag manager is to create conversion tags. So if you're running ads like Facebook ads or AdWords or Bing ads, you can use this tag manager to create conversions specific for people that visit a set of pages or just particular pages. So it's very good too for this purpose, to track visits and have your ROI from paid advertisement.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll open it up to questions. Does anybody have any questions? You can just pop them right in the chat and we'll answer them as they come. Any questions? Okay. Doesn't look like we have any questions today. So that's great. Oh, what can go wrong with tags? Oh, there's one. Okay, great. Great. So what can go wrong with tags? Yeah, let me just jump in and answer that. So potentially the third-party service is down, or there's some problem with it, or the third-party service tries to hijack your website or whatever it is. So it does depend on a third-party service typically, and so there can be problems with that third party. Google does have a little bit of scanning and management of it. That's one reason to use the tag manager, is they'll help try to prevent some of that. The other thing that I would say can go wrong with tags, just generally speaking, is they can add some clutter to your website. You can get the site cluttered up with a lot of external scripts and etc. If it's visual widgets, it may give a cluttered look, or it just may slow the site down a little bit if you add too many of them there. But it's everybody on the internet today is using all sorts of tags. I mean, they're pretty common everywhere you go. So. What are the top tags for a directory site? What do you recommend for city directories? Sure. Oh, wait. Yeah, let me answer that one, then I'll go back. Sorry, I skipped the question before that. The top tags for directory site obviously are probably the analytics, I think. The different analytics, Google Analytics primarily. Then you can see where the demand is in your area. If people are searching for certain categories and that type of thing, you can use that information that comes in off the analytics to build out content and do all sorts of things with that. As far as what do we recommend, you may do the Hotjar. You may put in some special widgets, that type of thing for it. I wouldn't say just try to like, oh, I need tags and put stuff in. I would really try to avoid it unless you have a specific need and you know what you're looking to do. Do you have any comments to add there, Emerson or Gabriel?
Yes, for the US, we have this from userway.org that is to make your website ADA compliant, and there are another agencies that it gets your site compliant too. So it's very important if you are in a niche that is very specific and they demand this kind of
government type sites, that kind of thing, may need some ADA compliance. That's another one.
Yes, some other, like you mentioned at the beginning, like GDPR or if you're in California, there are some privacy policy rules, etc., that you must display a pop-up or a different message. You can do that. There are services that provide these scripts, just like Hotjar, etc., that can integrate using Google Tag Manager. So our recommendation is to put what's important to your project. So there's not a one solution fits all. You have to see what you really need. But you can contact us. You can do a quick review of your project and suggest something very specific for your project.
Okay, and the question before that was, are there any best practice tips? I think that's kind of the same thing almost, is what do we people recommend, etc. for that. I would just say try to keep the clutter down, and just add what you're really going to use on there. A lot of people add live chat and they're not really staffed to staff the chat, and so then it's a pop-up box there. So I'd not recommend that unless you're really going to use the things. Don't put it on there. Let's see. Next question. So after setting up the container and tag manager, all that is required to be inputted in eDirectory is the tag manager container number. Everything else is done through the tag manager site. Yes, exactly. That's it. And you can include actually the tag manager container number first, and then later load in the tags, and they'll be activated automatically as soon as you put them in. But yeah, that's the whole advantage of Google Tag Manager is keeping everything organized and easy through that. So do I have to use different Google Tag Manager accounts of several eDirectories in different languages? What do you recommend? I think that's probably why you would set up separate containers. So you can use the same tag manager account, but each of these sites, you would use a separate container for that. So hopefully that answers that. Is Google Tag Manager the SEO keywords part in the listings when you create a category, etc.? Everywhere it says SEO tags. Oh no, I think there's a little bit of confusion there about like SEO tags. So much of the data in the directory has tags. They're a general sort of it's a general word that's used in a lot of different places and meanings, but inside of the code, you'll find things that are tagged so that Google knows that this is the hours that things are open, or this is the business name. There's different things tagged in there. The tag manager is for external scripts, including external scripts. There's a little bit of confusion over the just the wording there for that. But no, the tags in the listings and the keywords are completely separate from the tag manager, nothing to do with it at all. So when you're in your site manager, it says SEO tags. That has nothing at all to do with eDirectory Tag Manager. Tag Manager is including external systems and scripts. Can I contact James? Can I contact you directly by email in order to have a Zoom meeting? Sure, absolutely. Yeah, send me an email and we can set up a time to do a meeting. That's the best way to do it. Do I need separate eDirectories? Do I like to offer the same directory in 2 different languages? My categories need to be in separate languages. Yeah, typically the way people do separate directories in separate languages is they do an add-on site and create it. And that way you can have the whole site really well optimized with the categories and the addresses and everything totally translated. So you'd have one site and then your next language, you'd set up another add-on site. So it's in the same site manager and you'll be able to toggle between the 2 of them there. But it really goes a long way from an SEO standpoint, having separate sites instead of running them off, trying to put everything in one of them. So that's typically how people do multi-language sites. Okay, great. Any more questions?
Yes, there's one from Kirk. The tag manager includes GA. Does this mean that we don't need to set up the GA4 on the GA tab in Google integrations, or do we use both? So my recommendation is create GA4 analytics property and use that using the Google Tag Manager integration, because July next year, Google will stop getting data from the Universal Analytics. So if you want to have data about your website in 1 year, you start today collecting this data using the GA4 integration. So you want to use,
I think the question there was, we have a separate Google Analytics place to put in a Google key, and then you have the tag manager as well. So the question is, does he need to set those up in both the eDirectory analytics field and the tag manager? And I think he can just put them in the tag manager if he wants.
Yes, put on the tag manager. What I mean is currently our integration is just for the Universal Analytics. Like in 1 month or 2, we'll have another update that will include out of the box the integration with GA4. But right now, if you want to use GA4, which is recommended, you have to use Google Tag Manager integration.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a release that cleans up that interface and just makes it real obvious somehow how that works before. changes require. Okay, great. Let's see. Yeah, so another question on the multi-language, would it be separate sites, separate domains? You could run it on a subdomain, but yes, that would be a separate separate domain for the separate site. The multi-language thing is always quite a question for people about how to go out and set that up. But I think you'll find if you actually set up separate sites on a you know, a .com country code, you'll find that your traffic and everything is quite a bit better than having everything on one site. So that's kind of the direction that we took with the base product to sort of maximize everybody's results out of that. So yeah, it would be a separate site. Can you offer Google Analytics and eDirectory webinar? That's a good idea. We don't have a Google Analytics webinar that we've already done, but that's certainly a good idea to add in there. So we'll note that. As far as that goes, yeah, the Google products these days, I remember when we first got started years and years ago, things were fairly simple and you could just log in and sort of understand how things work. And now some of these products, you know, Google Analytics, Google AdWords, et cetera, they're really quite complex to sort of understand all the details and all that. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind and try to put something together in the future for that. Okay, well, great. Thanks everybody for joining. Last call for questions. Otherwise, if anybody has any further questions, feel free to just send us an email. I think we posted the addresses above. And we look forward to speaking with you, and everybody have a great day, and we'll have another webinar in a couple weeks. Do you know what the next webinar is, Emerson?
You're mute.
I'm sorry. The next one will be about conversion rate optimization, where we're going to show how to better use Hotjar to get insights from your users and improve your website for conversions.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.